All right, we can all still doubt Konami. I completely am right there on board with you, but things are looking up for Silent Hill fans when it comes to new games and a movie, because there is actually a reliable source now, not just random leaks, not just random rumors, a reliable source talking about Silent Hill's future, which is the director of the original movie. Now, he actually talked about being involved in a new movie all the way back in June. This was with, this was translated by comicbook.com, then reported on by IGN, so I'm going to leave the sources in the description down below. But he actually said, I'm currently working on it. He said of his third Silent Hill movie, the script for a new Silent Hill movie that is totally independent from the previous movies made and respects the way Silent Hill has evolved. Silent Hill is a bit like Twilight Zone, the fourth dimension, a place where anything and everything can happen. I worked on a new Silent Hill, which is a Silent Hill of the year 2023, since the film would be released next year in 2023, and not a Silent Hill as I imagined it in 2006. Now, some of you are going to say, well, okay, we'll get another random movie. Great. We're getting the Metal Gear Solid movie too. I don't care. I totally understand that. I'm not sold on most video game movies. Most of them have ended up being very mediocre, but it's not just the movie. Also, I will say Sonic the Hedgehog. If you haven't seen those were really fun, but it's not just the movie. What actually was teased now from Christophe Gans is that there is more happening in the series than just a movie, because in a recent French video interview, Gans talked about the future of the Silent Hill franchise, and thanks to a translation posted on Reset Era, which IGN separately confirmed to be accurate, Gans teased what's to come on the video game front. He went on to say, I'm working with the Silent Team, the original creators at Konami. There are several games in development as we speak. There are several teams on it with a big line of games they will revive the franchise. I think they were really impressed of the success of the remakes of Resident Evil that are evidently exceptional games. Now, what's interesting to me about this was that Gans went on to say that he's not actually working directly on these games. He's actually just working with the Silent Team, who I met when I filmed the first Silent Hill movie. But he went on to say that there are more games being done, clarifying several games, and said that Bloober Team, which this was previously rumored, is working on the rumored Silent Hill 2 remake. Also, according to Gans, there's other teams working on other Silent Hill projects as well. So there's a lot of rumors too, with things like the alleged remake of Silent Hill 2 and other games coming out. And then, of course, last month, there was a Silent Hill game titled The Short Message that was rated in South Korea with the video game rating boards. We don't really know what that's going to be. It could be a mobile game. It could be, a main game. We don't know. But it's interesting that more stuff has been coming up. Now, I didn't report on, or I shouldn't even say report on, because I'm not a reporter. It's not like I'm out here like Clark Kent breaking the news, okay? Video game reporting is basically like some guy said something, someone else talks about it, then I talk about it. I'm not like at ground zero, of like a disaster changing the planet. But I do think it's interesting because there's been so many rumors for so long, and I think a lot of us, including me, by the way, have kind of resigned ourselves to the idea with Silent Hill that fans are the ones who are going to just keep the series alive, and that Konami just doesn't care anymore. One thing that was pointed out to me by a viewer of this channel that I thought was interesting, and I did verify, not that I didn't trust you, but I need to do my research, is that a lot of stuff has been changing around the culture in Japan of gambling and of pachinko machines. Silent Hill had gone very far in that direction of just being the Silent Hill pachinko machine, and Konami's other properties had gone in that direction too, because Konami basically was like, well, why would we make a bunch of games and do a bunch of risk when we could just make money off of pretty much glorified slot machines? I'm sorry, pachinko fans. That's kind of what it is. Now, it's interesting because there's been a lot of different cultural shifts in Japan that was pointed out to me, which is true in terms of how these machines are seen. Younger audiences are starting to actually see gambling, going out to these pachinko arcades or pachinko bars and betting their money. They're starting to see that sort of gambling as for old people, which I'm shocked at. I'm not saying that, they shouldn't feel that way, but it's just odd to me because it seems like that was just the way everything was going. Maybe it was my dystopian brain just embracing the future of Blade Runner, where everyone is just hopeless and lives in constant rain in polluted cities and is willing to, dump all their money into just a fleeting chance at happiness. But it does seem that the young people in Japan are starting to kind of push back against that and embrace gaming more again. There was a little bit of a middle generation there between the PS1, PS2 type era of, Japanese fans, and then kind of getting into the PS3, PS4 era where the younger people were more into that gambling type pachinko stuff. Now it seems that they're starting to move away from it. And of course, the thing that they're seeing as cool is gaming, meaning that there's more money to be made in gaming now than there possibly was in the past. Plus, the Japanese audience has always been very, very, very supportive of Japanese created products. This is something that goes all the way back. There's a reason why, some of my favorite RPG games that nobody buys in the West were gangbusters when it came to Asia, right? And that just general area, including Japan. And that's because it really connected and resonated with audiences, and they're ready to go out and support their cultural creations. That's just something that they do. They have a lot of pride in it when a Japanese creator creates something cool. And then, of course, a lot of times, in the past, America and Europe got the sloppy seconds, but more recently, things like anime, video games, and other stuff from Japan has been much easier to come by as it made it big in the world, other than just, Dragon Ball and Naruto and a couple of small things. Now, what's interesting to me about this, though, without getting too far off track, is that there is a lot of possible validity behind it already in all the rumors we talked about. I recently had talked about how there was a possible revival coming for Silent Hill, and now that we actually had Gans, who had worked on the original movie and is coming back for a new movie, who really has no reason to lie. There's really no clout to be gained by Gans going out here and just lying through his teeth about it. There's nothing to be gained. All this would do is hurt his reputation, make him look unprofessional, possibly affect future business opportunities for him. This is someone actually in the entertainment industry who has worked with these people before, worked with Konami property before, and who has official news on the whole subject. Now, I'm not sure if he was necessarily supposed to say this. I'm very surprised that this came out because this originally happened on October 7th with a lot of this news. And then, of course, way back in June, he had talked about being involved in a new movie. I'm surprised that this sort of talking about this property happened twice. I would have thought that Konami maybe wouldn't want him to be blowing the lid on some of that stuff, but it also seems like maybe this is just another part of the marketing. You start getting these creative heads that people respect, saying a thing here, saying a thing there, and all of a sudden they've kind of drummed up that interest, at least with the hardcore fan base that still pays attention and is still interested. Now, I will say too, if you enjoyed this video, I do have some other videos up about Silent Hill and its future. I truly do believe that fans are keeping the franchise alive. I made a video about that, and also a video kind of looking at one of the Silent Hill 1 remakes that's being created by fans. There are a lot of fans of Silent Hill who want these games to live, they want them to prosper, and they're willing to put their money where their mouth is and actually make something out of it. I can sit here all day, and I will admit this freely. I can sit here all day and talk about gaming. I can talk about my experiences with gaming and movies, how they connect with me, my thoughts on game design, and the things that I do know about. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to create a game. These are fans who do. So that video is very, very interesting, and I love it. I hope you'll check that out. And also, I did want to mention my wife, Jill, is working very, very hard on her own artistic enterprises, which are resin pieces that I think are very, very beautiful. There are tons of them that are super good. I love them. And some of my favorite pieces actually use repurposed, recycled paper from comic books. These were comic books that were being thrown out and recycled at local shops in the Twin Cities where we live in Minnesota. So I really like this because these were things that were going to go just in the trash. They were either going to end up in a landfill, they were going to end up incinerated, or they were going to end up maybe being recycled. Usually that doesn't happen. The paper often just ends up in a landfill. What's cool about what Jill's doing is that this is giving a lot of this paper and stuff new life and adding decorative properties and other things to the art that she's making. It's a really, really cool transformative thing that I absolutely love. And she's also made her own original stuff too, even outside of that, including one of my favorite pieces if you're into the spooky season, the awesome skull piece that she made, and she just made the cutest little gummy bear type thing too. So anyway, I'm not a big artist, but I think it's cool. I appreciate it. I hope you'll check that out. That's on her website, enchantedglamour.com. Lots of stuff over there that is amazing. That's enchantedglamor.com. Every purchase goes to help support the channel and help us out, and we love you very, very much. I actually do want to say a big thank you to many of my supporters over on Patreon. Normally I just list off certain tiers, but today I wanted to list off everybody because you guys mean just the world to me and you help out so much. Thank you to Jason, Gregular, Mark, Vince, Nicholas, Sean, Colin, Gervaris, Arasan, and Jonah. You guys rock. You rule the world, honestly. And also a huge thank you to our members over on Degenerate Plays, where we play through games, and we're currently playing through Silent Hill 1. So if you're interested in that, please be sure to leave a like. The link to Degenerate Plays is actually in the description down below. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.